of what is going on, but the country is on the precipice of all-out civil war. Mustafa Abro is an Oromo rights and human rights activist here in Winnipeg and joins us today. Mustafa, welcome. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for inviting me, Jeff.
Tell me, if you can, give us an understanding of why the tensions and the violence in Ethiopia have bubbled to the level that they are right now.
As you may be aware of, Ethiopia is a multi-federation empire. It is made of 9 regions, and recently the other region called Sidama came into power. Now it is 10 regions, with regions have their own rights to self-rule and self-determination, and there is a federal government. So, among those regions, the Oromia regional state and the Tigray regional states are the strong pillars of the multi-federation. So, as Abiy Ahmed came to power, for some reason, by the force of the Oromo youth known as Kairos, the previous TPLF regime were overthrown, and Abiy Ahmed came to power. So there is always a tension between the previous TPLF leadership, which is still the ruling party in Tigray region, and the federal government that is ruled by Abiy Ahmed. And recently, the Tigray government went ahead and conducted the regional election, despite the federal government refusing to conduct the election using the pretext of COVID-19. That didn't sit well with the Abiy Ahmed, and he found a pretext to blame TPLF for that, and he went after them. So recently, to be the immediate cause of the outbreak, he blamed the TPLF for financing the Oromo Liberation Front that has been in force in Western Oromia, and he blamed for them TPLF giving them war equipment here and there. And now he also blamed them. TPLF attacked the military camp that is located in Tigray. So it is a full-blown civil war going on in Ethiopia right now.
All right, so it is the government, and it's in the Tigray region, right? Most of the violence.
Yes, right now the more the violence is going on between the federal force and the TPLF, that is the ruling party of the Tigray regional state.
Who is financing the rebel forces?
The rebel force has been independent for most of the rebel struggle. The Oromo Liberation Front were dependent on the Oromo people, and they self-dependent. But now, as the enemy of my enemy, maybe, we have no guarantee TPLF doesn't have a hand in helping Oromo Liberation Army, but Oromo Liberation Army commander Jalmaro Kumsa clearly denied being involved in the massacre that happened in West Oromia lately, and he clearly invited the international organizations such as Amnesty International and the United Nations Human Rights Commissioner to be involved and investigate the claim that government is using. From the history, we knew that Ethiopian government usually commit atrocities and blame it on the rebels or on the opposition leaders.
All right, but where's the money coming from to back these rebels?
There is no clear indication. Sometimes the Oromo people in diaspora clearly support the Oromo liberation struggle of 40 years. But at this time, OLF is now in 2 factions. One is in Addis Ababa, in the capital, as a peacefully registered organization to conduct non-violence resistance. And the army wing is in Forest right now, conducting the military offense against the Ethiopian empire. And the Ethiopian government is also conducting airstrike. And the civil war is now between 3 forces, the Oromo area and the Tigray region.
All right, but somebody is supplying the arms and the munitions, right? But it's not clear who?
make sure Tigray region is not a rebel. Tigray is a fully armed state because when the Ethio-Eritrean war between 1998 to 2000, TPLF was the leader of the Ethiopian regime. So the heavy artillery and machineries were stored in Tigray region. And Tigray were the forces that fought a bitter war to topple the previous Ethiopian government, and they were in power for the past 27, 28 years until the recent reform. So they were fully capable of financing their own arm. Stronger than the federal government itself.
What is the risk of a humanitarian crisis as a consequence of this fighting?
Very heavy. So far, according to the source on the ground, close to 200,000 refugees are expected to cross the Ethio-Sudanese border. And I just watched the Al Jazeera report from the Kassala region of Sudan that there is a dire situation going on the ground.
All right. And is there any end in sight, or is this going to get worse before it gets better?
The thing is, the Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed surrounded himself with questionable advisors, and the war against the Tigray People's Liberation Front, the leadership of the Tigray region, is financed and supported by ex-military regime that was destroyed by the Tigray regions, the TPLF. Now, Abiy is calling those military generals to march against Tigray, and also Eritrea has a revenge against the TPLF. There were a strike from the Eritrean side against TPLF, and the TPLF sent about 3 rockets that hit Asmara, the capital city of Eritrea. So now the war is becoming the regional war. If Eritrea involved in Ethiopian domestic affairs and Tigray is fighting against the federal government and the Eritrea, so it is going to draw third party as well, which can cause catastrophic humanitarian disaster in the region.
Mustafa, thanks very much for giving us a little bit of a glimpse into what's going on back in your homeland. Thanks very much for this.
Thank you, Jeff. As you asked, the solution to this is to come to a negotiation table. War is not going to be a solution. I believe Abiy Ahmed will come to his sense, release the Oromo political leaders in prison, the likes of Jawar Mohammed, and negotiate with the Tigray People's Liberation Front that was supported by the majority of the Tigrayan peoples. Call all stakeholders and sit down and negotiate. That is my advice to the world and to the Ethiopian government and to TPLF and OLF as well.
Mustafa Ibro is an Oromo rights and human rights activist here in Winnipeg. We have news that's coming up at the top of the hour. It is World Diabetes Day. We're going to talk about where we stand in terms of diabetes research and our